Good morning, everyone. How are you doing? This is Amanda Ellis. Today is the 18th of September 2023. This video is a very popular requested one from my Australian followers asking me, pleading with me to do a video on the voice referendum, which is a referendum that will be occurring on the 14th of October this year. I think it is summed up best by a comment that's just come in from one of you on Instagram. I asked for questions last night, but I'd like to start with this message. You say, thank you for looking at this issue in Australia. It is so difficult to navigate all the propaganda and to find any real information on what is being proposed. Just lots of vague blanket statements and sound bites. My gut is leaning one way, but I'm keen to hear what you receive regarding this issue. And I think that it is clear to me from the emails that have come in, from the messages that have come in with regard to this subject, that this is again something that seems to be bringing huge division and separation to your beautiful country and land and people. So I will do my best to bring some messages through from Spirit to help. The intention of this video is certainly not to tell you which way to vote. I will not be doing that. It might become clear through this video that we are steering one particular way, but I'm not anticipating that happening. I think what we will be doing here is receiving some overview messages from Spirit to help you, to steer you, but also to lead you back into your own sovereignty so that you make your own choice with conviction and strength. One of the things that is coming through very strongly is that people have lost their trust in government, they've lost their trust in each other, and they've lost their trust in themselves to often make the right decision. This is not just an Australian problem, this is a worldwide problem. But this particular referendum seems to be bringing up these trust issues big time. So we will be looking at that. I intend to start quite generically, and then I will try to focus down into more specific questions. And I will take some of the questions that have come in overnight, as I say, on Facebook and Instagram, where I asked for them. But I probably will be starting with things such as these questions. I will be asking why now? What are the motives and the intentions of the Prime Minister? If it's a yes vote, will it ultimately divide or create greater unity amongst the country as a whole? Can it be a small first positive step towards change, even if it is an imperfect one? I also will be asking what Uluru has to say. Please do not spam my comments with the fact that I'm pronouncing it wrong, I'm pronouncing the Prime Minister's name wrong. I am doing my best and you're watching this for free. So my intentions are coming from the right place and from my heart. But please, I just know from experience, I do my best with pronunciation, but I'm an English-speaking woman and sometimes I get it wrong. So Mother Earth doesn't mind is what I'm hearing. So let's get going. I think I would like to start with an opportunity for all the tribe to gather. And what I mean by this is I'm seeing in my mind's eye that we are around Uluru, and it's as though there is a huge circle of people there. And these people are made up from all corners of Australia. All types of Australian, all ages of Australian, people of different political persuasions. And not only is a circle formed there, but there is now a circle forming of ancestors, spirit guides, and indeed Great Spirit. And more people are gathering as I'm talking, and as I'm talking, more will gather. And what I'm being told to do is to just read a very brief summary of what this voice referendum is actually about, because even though I know that you've had it rammed down your throats and you're probably sick of hearing about it if you're in Australia, sometimes hearing it from an independent source, from a different country's source, and from a different mouth, can make you hear things that maybe you've forgotten in terms of potential intention, or some of the very many varied factors that are at play with this difficult discussion. Sometimes when we have a decision to be made, we can get very focused on just the one thing that is glaring to us that we can't get past, and we can forget there are other aspects to it. So with that being said, I'm not going to read a summary from an Australian newspaper. I'm not going to read a summary from a UK paper. I'm at one of the best summaries that I found today, and this was written a few days ago. It's actually from Al Jazeera, okay? So I will put the link below to the Al Jazeera, it's not an interview, summary, and I am now going to just briefly try to summarise their article. If you want to skip this point or part of the video, although I suggest you don't, I will put timestamps so you can do so. So it says that Australians will vote on October the 14th in a referendum that would enshrine in the nation's constitution a mechanism for Indigenous people to advise Parliament on policies that affect their lives. So supporters say that embedding what is known as the voice to Parliament in the Constitution would recognise Indigenous people's special place in Australian history while giving them input into government policies. Opponents argue that it would divide Australians along racial lines without reducing the severe inequalities faced by Indigenous people. Some of those inequalities are linked to life expectancy, higher suicide rates, disproportionate number of people in prison, domestic violence. So that's some of the inequalities that are stated in this article. It says, who are Australia's Indigenous people? Australia's Indigenous people include Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people, and they are culturally distinct from each other. Indigenous people had lived in Australia for at least 60,000 years before the British arrived in 1788. The settlers established a colony in a land they declared empty, dispossessing the Indigenous people of their land, killing thousands and exposing them to new and deadly diseases. Now numbering more than 800,000 people and making up about 3.8% of the population in 2021, Indigenous people are the most disadvantaged group in the country. It also talks about and reminds us of the fact that a third of Indigenous children were forcibly removed from their families from 1910 until the 1970s in an attempt to assimilate them into white society. The government apologised for the so-called stolen generation in 2008. So what is the voice? It's a referendum where all adult Australians will be asked to vote yes or no to a single question. The single question is this: a proposed law to alter the Constitution to recognise the First Peoples of Australia by establishing an Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander voice. Do you approve this proposed alteration? You answer yes or you answer no. So, what else is there to say? It says if the answer is yes, the Constitution would be rewritten to state that the voice may make representations to the Parliament and executive government on matters relating to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people. Supporters say there would be no Indigenous right of veto over government policy and lawmakers would be free to disregard the voice's representations. But opponents argue the courts might interpret the voice's constitutional powers in unpredictable ways, creating legal uncertainty. The voice would include Indigenous Australians from all 8 states and territories. Members would be chosen by local Indigenous people and serve for a fixed period of time. So this has been rumbling for a while, and the idea to include Indigenous people, to be included in legislation, dates back to a referendum to amend the Constitution in 1967. So yes, this has prior history, but it's been brought to the door by the current Prime Minister, who after winning power in last year's election put it back onto the table. It says he's staked much of his personal political capital on it. It says there are those who oppose it on both sides of the political divide. Okay. And I think I'll leave it there. I'll put the link to that article below. And now we're going to get to the messages from Spirit. I feel as though I need to ring a bell. I'm being serious. So apologies if this sounds really loud through my microphone. I'll try not to ring it too loud. There's something about ringing a bell in terms of assembly has begun. Okay. The first thing that I would like to say is to remind everybody about the energy of materialization, manifestation, and thought, and the fact that we live in a benevolent universe. I don't know how well you can see this card. I've got a new camera. I haven't quite got to grips with all of the focus settings. So if you can't read the words, I'll just tell you what's on the card. I've just told you anyway. It says materialization, thought power, manifesting and benevolent universe. To me, the figure on the card looks very much like Jesus. It's how I imagine him anyway. It doesn't have to be how you imagine him. But it is the reminder that from anything, something good can be created, okay? And that is true whether it's a yes vote or a no vote. That whatever the outcome, something positive can be built, but equally that the power to do so is linked into your ability to manifest. That your thoughts are creating in every moment either more trouble or more ease. So I think that's quite an interesting card to begin with, the card of materialization. I'm sensing as I'm tuning in just this huge sense of fog, for want of a better word, across the whole country. And the way it's being presented to me is a thick smog. Actually, I'm being told it's not fog, it's a thick smog. This is energetic. And within the thick smog are discordant notes. The notes come from people's voices and they hang in the air. There is like an umbrella energy of smog and discordant energy over the whole of Australia. And I'm being told that it's partly made up of confusion, whether that has been generated deliberately or not. The end result is confusion, not being able to see clearly, but equally these discordant notes that we are adding to can be cleared by us stating clearly what it is that we wish for the land, what it is that we wish for the people, what is it that we wish for the Indigenous ones within our midst. So from chaos to bring an umbrella energy of harmony and clarity. Now, those of you that are healers that watch me in Australia, if you've watched previous channelings I've done on Australia, do you remember I talked about the fact that I asked you to clear the waters around Australia, and to put into the waters around Australia, I might not have expressed it in the same way, but, notes of peace, vibrations of peace, of harmony. Well, this time I'm asking you to turn your attention to the air, to the skies above. I just am feeling this oppressive, heavy blanket energy over the whole land, and the vibrations that you need to be putting into it is the energy of clarity, of honesty, of integrity, of the right result, with no attachment to what the right result is. Because I'm being told that the right result, from a spiritual perspective, might be different from the one that you are hearing others express, or it might be different from the one that's leading in the opinion polls on any one day, and they will fluctuate up to the October the 14th date. So, very important. I can't stress how strongly to clear the air over the land. Now, as I am recording this on the morning, my time of the, I think it's the 18th of September, I'm hearing that there's a couple of storms rolling in across Australia. Obviously, maybe not across the whole land, but that's good, because so the elements will be trying to clear this smog, this uncertainty, but healers can also do their own bit. I'm also being told that because there are arguments happening in homes, it's very similar to what happened maybe with regards to the JAB and families being divided over that. So here we've got another subject which is dividing people, maybe in your family home, within your business, within your community, within your street, to clear the air in your home, to clear the air in your street, to clear the air wherever it is that you will actually be going to vote on the 14th of October. If you know where you're going to be asked to go and put a cross and make your vote on the 14th of October, you actually know whether it's a village hall, a community centre, whatever it is. I'd like you to envisage the pathway leading up to the community centre being swept and cleared by spirit and elemental energy, and the doorway to be flushed through with white light, the hall to be filled with the energy of clarity, unity, hope for the future, and again, the right decision to be made. Because I'm a healer, and I both can heal myself and others, when I used to do hands-on healing with people, I would always have an eye that watered, which was always my confirmation that I was releasing something with my words, my actions, my hands at a particular moment in the healing. Right now, my right eye is starting to water, and I feel as though it's confirmation from spirit that what I'm saying here is accurate, it's true, it's powerful. Now, I've just done my little bit in terms of trying to clear the smog, but I don't know where you live. I don't know what your street is. You have to do that for yourself, okay? And I know you can and you will, so thank you. So again, we start with this card, the card of materialization. To manifest the best outcome, we have to clear away the debris so we can see what it is we're actually dealing with. Okay, so let's now pull one more card, I think, from this deck, actually. Did I say what the deck is? It's the Fae Elder's Guide to the Higher Dimensions by Billy Dean and Chrissy Leaf. One of you sent it to me. I can't remember if it was Billy or Chrissy, but any one of you sent me the deck. It's printed in Australia, and I think you are Australian. Sorry if I've got your nationality wrong, but it wanted to come into this reading anyway. So let's just see, before we start honing down into specific questions, any other guidance, please, for the people of Australia. And you see, I'm talking about the people of Australia because from a unity consciousness perspective, I don't see people as different based on their colour of their skin, their heritage. I just see people as Australian. I'm sorry if that offends anybody, but that's truly where I'm at. So absolutely we can have differences within an Australian population, but the Indigenous people to me are just part of the Australian, part of Australia. So I'm going to refer to people throughout this. We have the energy of wolf. As I said that, you see, we have the energy of wolf on the bottom of the pack because wolf is about family. I just see one family. With Australia, I see one family. So the Aboriginal voice, the Indigenous voice that for whatever reason hasn't had a voice, there is no question in my mind, absolutely no question, that they should be at the table. They should be at the top table in terms of being able to make decisions in the same way that other people should be represented across Parliament as well. So there is no debate with regards to the fact whether they should be part of the Parliament, part of the decision-making process. The question is whether this is the right door for them to go through to get to the top table, okay? Whether it's the right door. There is a card that I don't have to hand now, but it's from the Wisdom of the Oracle deck by Colette Baron-Reid, if you have that deck. It's called Adjacent Possibilities, and it shows a hallway with all these different doors, some of which are open, some of which are closed. Right now, the voice referendum is one door that is open, whereby the Aboriginal people can get their place at the top table, which is where they always should have been anyway. But it's whether this is the right door for them to go through. There's also on that card a trap door, actually, I seem to remember. I'm not feeling that, put it this way, if the intention of the voice referendum was for this to be a trapdoor moment for the Aboriginal people, you know, you sign up for this, we give you a place at the table, we give you some powers, but actually it's all a bit of a joke. It's not really real. It's just we're playing with you. The trapdoor opens and you fall through and you're worse off than you were before. If that were to happen, what I'm hearing Spirit say is it would backfire on the ones that left the trapdoor open in the first place, because there would be such a rumble of thunder from the ones that had sunk further down the ladder that when I say all hell would break loose, I don't mean that necessarily in a negative way. I just mean that you would hear their voice then, okay? So this is what I'm trying to get across, that whichever way this referendum goes, whether it's a yes vote, whether it's a no vote, whether it's a trapdoor type moment and, you know, the vote goes in is a yes, but actually then they realise that it wasn't what was being presented to them, it was manipulative, it was fraudulent maybe, it would backfire in such a spectacular way that you would then hear their voice. Okay, so there is no way that the Australian Aboriginal voice will not be heard going forward. That is a given. But yeah, we have the card here of wild song, family and regeneration. You see, it's interesting to me that the date of the referendum itself is on the 14th of October 2023, because I'm quite interested in numerology. And so if we look at the numerology of the 14th of October 2023, we take the 14 energy, okay, which I'll talk about separately, and then you add up 1, 4, you add up all the digits basically, and what you get is a 13 energy. And then you add 1 and 3 together and you get 4. Okay, so there's 3 numbers we look at, 14, 13 and 4. Let's start with 14 first. 14 is the Aquarian age. I feel as though it's saying, with regards to the Aboriginal people, when I say welcome to the new age, what I mean by that is the fact that they are welcomed into the new technological age in terms of having the seat at the table, okay? It's as though all these dealings and wranglings and decisions made on their behalf have been done when they don't have a seat at the table. So the 14 energy is a turquoise colour. Again, it's linked to the voice, it's linked to communication, it's about being heard, it's about being welcomed into the new way that we do things. I feel the fact that I wanted to ring the bell at the start of this session is also important because it's as though a new assembly is formed. Whatever happens as a result of this referendum, a new assembly will be formed. There is no stopping this process. So 14, as I say, it's about communication. It's about welcome to the new technological age. You have a place at the table. The 13 energy, though, is what particularly interests me because I'm sure many of you know. 13, no, it's not unlucky in terms of, to fear. 13 is the energy of rebirth. It's the energy of what this card says. It's the energy of regeneration. Regeneration. From the ashes, the phoenix arises. So it's absolutely the energy of death of the old ways and birth of the new. So whoever set the date for this particular referendum, the fact that it's a 13-day, whether they knew it or whether it was unintentional, we have the energy of rebirth and regeneration, which is a positive sign. If you add 1 and 3 together, you get 4. 4 links to the planet Uranus, which is to do with expect the unexpected. Now, I'm hearing Spirit say, expect the unexpected isn't necessarily about how the vote goes down. It's what happens after the vote goes down. However it goes, whether it's a yes, whether it's a no, expect the unexpected. Now, from a spiritual perspective, expect the unexpected. Say it's a yes and you have fears in terms of what that will mean, where that is going to lead. Expect the unexpected could be that your fears are unfounded. Actually, it works out a lot better than you think it's going to. If you're fearing a no vote, the same is also true. That from a no vote, rather than thinking, oh my God, that means that with this, with that, etc., expect the unexpected, that something good can happen, because this is all a reminder of keep your eye focused on the horizon in terms of whatever happens, good can come from it. Think of your own lives. Think of your own healing journey. Think of the times when you've actually grown the most. You've learnt the most, you've evolved the most. It's often come from a very difficult place, from when something didn't go your way. It didn't go the way you thought it should go. But actually, you learnt from it, or, you certainly grew from it. I can't help, I know it's a totally different scenario, but I am going to bring the energy of Brexit into this. Because in my country, in the UK, a couple of years ago, we obviously had the vote to leave the European Union. Not that it's about me, but I remember voting no. I didn't want to leave the European Union. Now, I lost that debate, okay, because the country voted yes, we were going to leave, and we have left. And then you see straight after that, a lot of people, I wasn't one of them, but were like, oh my God, what's going to happen now? And it's going to be terrible, and we're just going to do. And I remember seeing some people who weren't actually UK readers and saying, oh my God, it's terrible for the UK. Look we're doing okay. I mean, we've got huge issues here, like all countries have around the world. But it hasn't, I don't want to get into the politics of Brexit. What I'm trying to say to you is that however a vote goes, you make the most of it. You then get behind whatever the new rules are. I've had to adapt my business based on new Brexit rules and taxes and all the rest of it. You make the most of it. From something which isn't necessarily what you want, you create something good, okay? So anyway, we've also got the energy of wolf there, also saying that wolves run in packs, that this is, I'm just seeing the country as one family. And that's what people are forgetting in these arguments and these divisions. That is what we forgot during the times of the pandemic and the whole argument with regards to VAX, which I know haven't gone away and might be resurrecting again. But ultimately, it's the same message. Do not forget that the person that you do not agree with, the person that votes differently from you or takes a different action, they are still your family. You know, however divided we get as a species, and we're living in times now with regards to many different things, you know, whether you want to call it people that are awake, people that are unawake, with regards to lots of different things. We must never forget the common humanity. We must never forget that we are all one. And it's, you know, it's how we wrestle with the difficult subjects of the day that actually shows how we are evolving or not as a species. Okay, right, let's get to a few specifics then. And I'd like to look at the Prime Minister's energy. And I'm going to use a tarot deck for this, I think, the Tarot Grand Lux. So Anthony Albanese, I know I'm pronouncing his name wrong, apologies. His motives, his intentions. Let's just ask, why did he call this referendum? Why did he call this referendum? Why did he call this referendum? What are his motives, intentions? If there are any hidden ones, we would expect to see, for example, the Moon card come up. But we'll see. So, Prime Minister of Australia, what are his motives and intentions for calling this referendum now? We have the Queen of Coins, and we have the Eight of Coins on the bottom of the deck. So I'll take those two first. So both money coins, both money cards. Before I actually pull any more cards, I will just say that I'll come back to the Queen of Coins, but here is a man looking over the books, okay? Poring over the books actually is an expression. You know, he's poring over the book. He's reading all of the small print. I don't know whether you can see, but the expression on his face is very much one of inquisitiveness, curiosity. There's many different ways that you could view that. It could be that here is a man who understands the history of this whole debate, as I say, that's been going on for decades, is reading over what's happened in the past. The lights are burning late into the night with regards to the card, and has just decided, for whatever reason, that this is the time. But does seem to be money involved with this as well. I don't quite know where the money comes in yet, but let's just pull a few more cards and see what picture we get. I'm not quite sure why we've got the Queen of Coins there yet. Is that pressure from a prominent feminine voice in Australia to do this? So what were his motives and intentions? Let's just have three more cards. We have the Hermit. I actually think this is something that he's been thinking about for a while. He might not have publicly stated it. We have Judgment, just dropped out. We have the Six of Cups as well on the bottom of the deck. Okay, so I understand, like all politicians, he's a divisive figure. Some of you love him, some of you can't stand him. I personally feel that I think his intentions are honourable. That's what I'm picking up. I feel as though he is making a judgment call on the past. The Hermit, he's thought about this. This isn't something that was done on a whim. This man here, this Eight of Coins, he's poring over the books. This is someone I feel it's someone who he might not have done it publicly, but it feels as though it's something that's been on his mind for a while. And this is all linked into a judgment on the past. You see, the hermit has a conscience. The hermit is a wise man. The hermit has a conscience. The hermit is looking to try and do the right thing. The hermit is searching for the light. I feel that he's troubled in particular with regards to the stolen children. I think that's what's driving this. The children that were, taken away from their families and trying to be rehoused with white people. It doesn't sit right with him. It's definitely linked to the children, the Six of Cups energy. This is a card that's just full of childhood things, teddy bears, rocking horses, cuddly teddies, a little girl on a swing. And it's coupled with the energy of the hermit. I personally feel as though he's trying to do the right thing here. He might not be going about it in the right way. It might not be worded well. It might be full of fluff and people not really understanding what it is. He might not actually understand the ramifications of all of it. But I think the core nature is here is a man who's trying to right the wrongs of the past. The judgment, trying to right the wrongs of the past. The Six of Cups and the Judgment card. And he has thought about this, the Hermit. The only card I'm not quite sure about is the Queen of Cups. I'm just going to have clarification on the Queen of Cups. So his motives and intentions. Okay, I don't need another card. I assume he's married, is he? I assume he's married or he's a family man. It could be that the part of the motivation for doing this is the wife or a daughter or somebody in his family who is female, who has been making him think about this. I think there's a woman behind the scenes who has made him question and forced this onto the agenda. Because actually, in all these cards about him, there's a queen there. It's not a king, there's a queen. They say that behind every powerful man there is a woman. That's usually true. I think there's a powerful woman behind him who has also steered this, orchestrated this. I don't know why I'm getting Jacinda Ardern in my head now. I know she again is a divisive figure. I know she's not even the Prime Minister anymore of New Zealand. I might be totally wrong here, but let me just see. Is this a Jacinda Ardern link here that I'm feeling? Why am I picking up Jacinda Ardern all of a sudden? Okay, I might be wrong on this one. I don't know whether he's got links with her or had links with her in the past. But this is the card of Five of Swords, is the battle that the battle that needs to be won. Because I have a vision. The Two of Wands is a vision. So I'm not going to go too much into that because I might be wrong. And I don't want to lead this whole reading into a Jacinda Ardern thing. But that may or may not be right. Let's ask the question. No, I think I've answered the question, why now? It's to make up for the wrongs of the past in his mind. I'm going to ask the question, how invested is he personally with regards to a yes vote? How invested is Anthony Albanese personally in getting a yes vote? How invested is he? Justice. And the Queen of Wands, he wants justice. He wants justice for the Aboriginal people. Now, I'm hearing a word here which is naivety. He might be a little bit naive, actually, in terms of, I feel as though it's literally like it's like, this is a good idea. We're going to do this. I actually do believe in this. This could right the wrongs of the past. Again, we've got the woman that is behind this. There's definitely a woman that's steering this. But I feel as though he either hadn't thought through all of the ramifications of it, and the debate that is now happening in Australia is one that needs to happen because these other aspects that haven't been thought through do need to be raised. But again, I come back to that teaching at the beginning of this video, that however this goes, I feel ultimately it's going to work out okay for Australia and for the Aboriginal people. Is this a fated moment for Australia? Is this a fated moment for Australia? Is this a fated moment for Australia? Ooh, okay. Right, hold on. What's the one that went on the floor? 2. Okay, there's quite a lot of cards that flew out there. Let's just have a little look at what we've got. We've got a combination of... We've got the Strength card. We've got all the Queens bar 1 out on the table. We've now got the Queen of Swords. We had the Queen of Wands, we've got the Queen of Swords. Is this actually Mother Earth? Maybe this is Mother Earth. Maybe it's nothing to do with Blinking Jacinda Ardern or his wife. I mean, I think there's still a bit of that there, but this very strong female energy that's flying out, is it Mother Earth that's speaking? Is it Uluru that's speaking and saying this is a fated moment where you're going to look at this? And even as human beings who, you know, let's face it, we're all flawed. And even as human beings who often can muck it up and start something and maybe not follow it through, or, you know, create something which isn't as good as it could be, even with all of that, you're still going to start the process. I feel I've got the energy of Uluru here, and it's, let me just pick these beautiful crystals up that somebody sent me from Australia. They're beautiful. Let me just hold these whilst I'm tuning into Uluru. Yeah, because I'm hearing I will be heard. I will be heard. And again, I'm being taken to the image of Uluru and the huge circle of people that are now around her. And absolutely there is representation of all of the Aboriginal people, every type of person you can think under the sun who lives in Australia, they are all represented there. Not just Aboriginal, but, you know, other Australians. But the whole point of the circle is that nobody is above anybody else. Every single person is of equal value. And then we just have this energy of Uluru, and she's coming through as a volcano. Now, was she a dormant volcano? I've had this before with her. I've always picked up volcano vibes. Maybe she is a defunct volcano. Maybe I'm totally off my rocker. But the point is, I'm getting volcano. I'm sure this isn't the fact that she's about to explode, but it is energetic that she's about to explode. Uluru has run out of patience. I'm even feeling that whatever the gathering was around her with the Aboriginal people, whatever time that happened, whatever the agreement was that had been signed beside her, it's still, or the discussions that had taken place, because they were being done by human beings who, let's face it, can be confusing. The words can come out wrong. There can be compromise that has to happen because you can't get agreement on everything. It was better than nothing is what I'm hearing. But this is the energy I'm feeling. It's like what you've got here with the voice referendum, you now have it on the table that this whole discussion has to take place. The Aboriginal people have to find their place at the top table. And even if the vehicle is a dusty old, you know, truck that's got 3 wheels as opposed to 4, and all of the windows are blacked out and the windscreen is cracked, you know, it hasn't been cleaned for God knows how many years, and it's only got half a tank of petrol, and, you know, it's being pushed uphill by a whole bunch of people, it's still better than having no vehicle at all, is what she's saying. It's still better than having no vehicle at all. And the rusty old truck being pushed up the hill is the voice referendum, is the voice referendum. So It's better than nothing at all is what I'm hearing. Oh, right, okay, because I'm hearing her say now, say, for example, there's an overwhelming no vote. Number one, it can be an own goal. But number two, I'm hearing a door firmly being shut behind the people. Now, remember, long term, that won't work, okay, because the people will rise. The Aboriginal voice will be heard. But short term, I'm hearing the door just slam. It's as though, okay, well, we asked you, you said no, that's it then, forget about it for the next decade. And then, the Aboriginal people, it's just become even more disadvantaged. Their voice squashed even more. It's like you had your chance, you blew it. That's the energy I'm picking up. What I'm saying now, this tough mother love is coming from Uluru herself, okay? So she's saying, how many years, how many decades, how many hundreds of years, how many thousands of years have you even come this close to being at the table? And I'm being shown the example of a food table now, a meal that is being set. And it's as though you go into the door, you sniff the food. It's like, oh, I don't actually eat that. I've got an intolerance to that. I don't like that. I don't actually like that person that sat the other side of the table. Oh, you haven't got the type of plates that I like, or sorry, no, I'm going. And then, the chef gets angry. The chef just says, forget it then, I'm not cooking for you again. That's what I'm feeling. It can be used against you with a no vote. A no vote can be used against the Aboriginal people, definitely, is what I'm feeling Uluru say. Because it's as though it feels better to be at the table, even if you don't particularly enjoy the meal, even if it's not to your liking, at least you're at the table and at least you're being fed in part. It was never going to be ideal to start with. It was never going to be ideal. It was always going to be the rusty old car, Okay. Sorry, my nose is itching like crazy, and I always get that when I'm onto something. Lots of psychics do. Okay. I'm going to pull a couple of cards for Uluru now. So in addition to what I've said, let's go to the Aboriginal Dreamtime Oracle. Uluru, what message is the please? It's interesting. Since I just went with what she was saying, it's like she's calmed down again. But there's definitely this energy coming from her of the mother. I'm seeing her as the mother of the nation, and she's got her apron on and she's like tying her apron strings, like mums do sometimes. Like, come on, let's just get this job done. Let's just start it. Let's just start the recipe. Let's just start the journey back to where you should always have been. There never is a right moment, she's saying. There's never a right moment. There's never the right vehicle. It's always going to be slightly flawed, but that doesn't mean that you don't take the first step. Got the card of creation on the bottom of the deck, but I'm going to shuffle the deck. Because creation feels very much like this first card we had from another deck, which is manifestation. She's saying, hell, even a rotten apple, there's a bit of it that you can use. The peel can be used to feed, whether it's the pigs or whatever, the animals. The core, my God, you should see my Bella. If I have an apple, she waits for the core with like the saliva coming down. If you've got a Labrador, you know what I mean. She's just like watching you like, I want the core, Mum, I want the core. Because this is the thing. There's always something you can do with every part, with individual parts of something. Okay, Uluru, one card, please. Further teaching, please. Sorry, there's a clump of 3 that came out, and it's not a very big deck, so I would like to just get one, if I may, please. Am I allowed one? It's exactly what I just said. We've got the card of Earth Mother. She's the Earth Mother. And she's getting a little bit tired of all of her children who she loves equally. However long they've been there, or for whatever short period of time they've been there, she loves them all equally. So think about the energy of a mother. I'm a mother. Many of you might be mothers. You have your firstborn child, okay? You might not have your second-born child until the first one is 10 years old. Some people have an accidental pregnancy when they're in their 50s or 40s, and it can be decades since you had your first child. You love your children all the same, however long they've been with you, okay? So this seems to be a nod to the fact that the Great Mother loves the Aboriginal people deeply, truly, always will. She also loves the new settlers, if that's what you want to call them, truly, deeply. She loves people who come to Australia who are very new. She loves people who have been there for a long time. She's a mother. Mothers are about unconditional love. Unconditional love. Let's see what the book says, if there's anything else that I'm missing from this card. Earth Mother. Okay. Thank you to whoever sent me this deck. I must admit, most of my Australian decks, my Australian crystals, they've all been sent to me by you, and I very much appreciate your love, so thank you very much. Sometimes I keep a little note. I keep the note that came with the deck. I don't think I've got that anymore, but anyway, thank you. You know who you are. Earth Mother. Okay, so we always get a little story with this card, so let's go to the story. It says, before the dream time existed, the world was dark and cold. The plants were small and barely grew in the damp, dark soil. The few animals that existed burrowed underground where they could huddle together for warmth. One day, a lizard who was so tired of always being cold ventured above ground to look for a warmer place to live. He walked for days and days and then stumbled upon a small yellow flower that had somehow managed to thrive in the dark, cold conditions. The lizard had never seen a flower before and was so amazed at its colour and beauty that he sat staring at it for days. For days he wished and wished that the other animals who lived beneath the ground could see the beauty of the flower. After days of watching the flower, he became so exhausted he fell asleep. And whilst the lizard slept, a feeling of warmth began to generate throughout his body. And when he opened his eyes, the darkness he had always known had disappeared. The world was warm and bright, and all around him he could see everything so clearly. The lizard looked up towards the bright blue sky and found the source of the warmth and light. The sun had been born. So it says, this is a time when things are feeling dark and ominous, and it's just too hard to see beyond the depths of that darkness. But don't fear the dark, because dawn always follows close behind. Your darkness is about to end. Prepare yourself for seeing things in the new light of a new day. Each dawn is the opportunity to begin again. So what wonderful things are you going to create? Yeah, the two sprays that I've got over here, out of sight from the camera, but I've set up a little grid for Australia, are these from the Metatron deck. Number one is the Midnight Indigo, which is about light in the dark. And this one is the Sunrise New Dawn spray. In many ways, what they are, what they represent and what they help with is the story that we've just had there of the fact that all seems lost, cold, barren, confusing. It's just darkness. Can't see the answer, can't see the way out of this. Things are just getting worse. We're getting more and more divided. We're getting more and more distrustful of each other. But yet you're reminded that from that place, the new dawn arises. The new dawn arises. And you know, guys, I really wonder whether this is tied into a prediction that I made 3 years ago, maybe longer. Some of you will remember what I said. I said that I felt that the dawning of the new age, and that's a huge sweeping statement because it doesn't happen in one moment, it doesn't even happen in one lifetime, but it would be a wave from east to west. And many people said, no, you're wrong, it's a wave from west to east, you know, what are you going on about? But I always saw it rising in the land of the rising sun, the energy of Australia and New Zealand I'll bring in as well. The eastern wave that would come in, but the thing, and it hasn't happened. It's like, well, you were wrong there. I don't think I was wrong. I don't think it can happen until Australia is united and its Aboriginal people have that seat at the table. So I'd like to talk next, I think, about the energy of trust. But before I do that, I'd like to see if there's any message from Metatron with regards to this night and day type energy we have at the moment. Okay, right now the feeling of not being able to see the wood for the trees, as I always say, you know, just not being able, no clarity, the smog umbrella that I was seeing over Australia at the start of this reading, can't see what the right answer is, and then the new dawn energy. So first let's have a look at this smog energy again, this darkness. Yeah, it's linked into what has been hidden. You know, even if it's been acknowledged with regards to, you know, this includes colonialism as well, you know, what the British did. It includes what happened with regards to the children that were taken away from Aboriginal people. It's also to do with what I call the ostrich head in the sand, with regards to Australian people not wanting to look at what is going on in Indigenous communities. For example, the high suicide rates, the poverty that might be there, the inequalities that are absolutely there. If there's an 8-year difference in life expectancy, what the hell's that about, you know? It's like, I haven't wanted to look at it, haven't wanted to face it. It needs to be faced, and it will be faced. It can't not be faced on a path of ascension. You see, right now, I'm being taken back to that card from the Wisdom of the Oracle deck. And I wish I had it to hand. I'll get it for you to show you. Hold on. Because you know I was talking about all the different doors that there are to go through. And is this referendum the right door and all the rest of it? I'm now hearing it's like, just go through any bloody door. I'm sorry to swear, but I'm really feeling like this impatience and this sort of just tough love, bit of anger really coming up from Mother Earth. It's just like, for goodness sake, move, evolve. It doesn't matter almost what happens because it's movement. Now, I cannot believe that. That card's not in the deck unless let me just have another look. Okay, so because, all right, I'm being told to say, humankind, we're very good at being apathetic. Take it away from this particular debate for a moment. We're very good at being apathetic. We're very good at stalling. We're very good at thinking there's going to be another opportunity, another time. Can't believe I can't find this card. Would you believe it? I know it's from this deck. Anyway, never mind. Can't find the card. Maybe there's another card. I'll shuffle. We're very good at being apathetic. We're very good at not moving. Think about yourself. Think about your own life. Think about all of the things that you know you should really be doing. You should really be looking at. You know, whether it's, I really hate this job and actually I need to really look around, or I'm not happy in this relationship, but, you know, yeah, I know I really need to look at that. Or I've got issues with my health, but yeah, I know I really need to be looking at. But we don't, because it's the tomorrow mentality. There's always tomorrow. There's always a better referendum. It's like when you move house. There's always a better house. Have I made the wrong decision? There might be a better one that comes on the market tomorrow. Spirit is saying, just move. You know, and actually I'm feeling a shaking of the ground now. We don't want that happening before the 14th of October, but it literally is. It's like I'm being shown, it's not like a trampoline. I don't know what they're called, like a parachute that's sort of fallen onto the ground and then you shake it. And I think it's a children's game, actually. I remember doing it with my kids. So you get like a huge piece of fabric, like a parachute and you put all the balls on top of the piece of fabric, and then you all hold it, you shake it like that, and the kids underneath are loving it and they're running around and, oh, isn't this fun? But actually I feel as though the balls on top of this piece of fabric are us, you know, and it's spirit just saying, come on, come on. But also it's linked into rigidity of thinking, okay? Rigidity of thinking. There's a beautiful card in the Christ deck, which is to do with we have to be flexible. We have to be open-minded. Rigidity and closed-mindedness to each other, to this referendum, and to what it could potentially do. You know, let's go back to Brexit. I have a fixed idea that if I vote no and we leave, this is going to happen. I have a fixed idea, if I vote yes, this is going to happen. And guess what? It probably didn't on both scores. Something else happened, okay? Because we are the manifestors that create that pathway. Yeah? Let's just pull one card from this deck, as I did actually go to the trouble of getting it out. And even though the card I know is relevant to this reading is not in it. Hold on, sorry. Let me just shuffle them. There will be a grand shaking of the earth, I'm hearing. Deep knowing. The card of deep knowing. And the card of mending. What a beautiful card that is, and how relevant that one is to what we're talking about here. This is the different types of people in Australia. I don't even want to say it like that because we're all one people, but you know, it's as though we're so divided. We look at somebody and say, you're an Aboriginal, you're white, you're this, you're that. We're all just people at the end of the day. But anyway, our history and what has happened to us, which is different based on colour of skin and many other things, of course, has created so many problems in our world. Of course it has. But ultimately, we have to be here, which is the energy of mending. It's quite interesting. We've got two little girls here, and they're just sitting and they're mending, and they're working on like a flag or something. It looks like little flags. Is there a change of flag going to be coming up as well if the constitution changes? I feel as though that might happen, that there might be a new flag. Or I'm feeling as though there might be a new flag. Now again, flags are something we are very passionately attached to. But ultimately, put it this way, if we're moving into New Earth, we have to be prepared for everything to evolve. Everything. And that actually includes flags of national identity. Could actually be a very good thing for flags to change. I'm now just seeing one flag, which is a global flag. No, it's not a New World Order type flag. No, that's not what I mean. It's a unity flag. Before everyone throws their hands up in horror. No, this is a unity flag. This is like, okay, what I'm being shown by Metatron is, you know, when whoever it was landed on the moon, supposedly. Let's not go there. I don't know whether he did or not. But anyway, so he puts the flag of whatever country it was, America, I guess, and, you know, American flag on the moon. We're the first, you know, and there it is. Well, I'm seeing Metatron here, and he just wants to place this great big flag on top of Mother Earth. And it's just a flag of the human race. It's a flag of the human race. Okay. I mean, we're a bit of a way off that, aren't we? But that's what I'm seeing. But yes, there is a deep knowing. We have the energy of the owl. The owl. You see, the owl sees in the dark, and the owl has these piercing eyes like the wolf does. The wolf and the owl and the lizard will guide you. Okay, so those three animal totems in particular coming up very strongly for Australia right now. I'm going to, some of these questions which I said I was going to read, I sort of feel as though I've answered them, maybe not the way you wanted me to, but, you know, because this thing about would it benefit the Aborigines? Okay, I will ask that, but, you know, I've taken a long-term view on this, because ultimately you're on a path where absolutely it will eventually. It's just, what does that pathway look like to get to that place? Because we're all moving whether we like it or not. I'm now being shown by Metatron. We're all on one of those conveyor belts, you know, a bit like you see in an airport where you don't even have to walk. You're just being carried. And we are all on this conveyor belt of change. And at the end of it is unity, okay? It is unity. So how we get there and how long we take to get there, I mean, that is relevant, but ultimately the destination does not change, okay? It doesn't change because we're entering a time of equality, and the Aboriginal voice will absolutely be part of that. It can't not be. Anyway, let's just try and break it down more into present day. Sorry guys, that probably sounded terrible. That's my stomach. It's not that time, is it? What time is it? It's 12:20. Maybe I needed to look at my phone. It's 12:20. Maybe I'll take a break and have some lunch. I'm sure you don't want to listen to my stomach, but anyway, let me just see if I can get a couple more cards going. My stomach is empty though. There's something here about emptiness. We are empty. We're needing to be nourished. We're needing to be nurtured. We're needing to fill up with the right fuel. We're running on empty is what I'm hearing. The old systems, the old ways of governance, the old voices are running on empty as well. We need new voices. Okay, let's have a look at Aboriginal people. Would it benefit the Aboriginals? Do you know, guys, I am actually going to take a break. I'm going to go make myself a cup of coffee, have a piece of peanut butter on toast, which I fancy, and then I'll be back to do this. Why don't you do the same? But please come back. Thank you. Had my piece of toast. Got my coffee. Let's settle down to the last part of this video. I think I've noticed something quite interesting that's happened since I've been recording this, which is that it is actually, it's 12:30 now, I've taken a break of only 10 minutes, the 10 again. The clock on my wall, can you see it? No, so I've got so much stuff in the way, but anyway, my clock has stopped at 10:10. It's just run out of batteries. So your referendum is on the 14th, 4 days after the 1010 referendum. The 1010 portal, the 1010 gateway. 4 days after the 1010 portal, you have a referendum. The date boils down to a number 4 numerological number. I talked about that earlier in this reading. 4 is Uranus, it's expect the unexpected. Does something happen on 1010? Is there a particular piece of information that gets released around 1010 that changes the polls, changes what happens? It feels as though something occurs in the couple of days before you actually vote that might sway it one way or another. So to be honest, whatever card we pulled today might not be accurate. Whatever the poll is saying today may very well be not accurate. A reminder, it's the 18th of September as I record this. So watch out for that 1010 portal, or it might be, I mean, that stopped for a reason. Everything happens for a reason in this room. It might also be, if you're a spiritual light worker, the 1010 portal is going to be very important for you to be holding the light for your country, okay, for the referendum itself. I am being told to ask you to do an exercise on 1010, whereby in your mind's eye, you bring together all of the different components of people that make up Australia. So all of the 8 different nationalities, was it, of Aboriginal people? Sorry, I'm not au fait with all of the different types or tribes or, you know, any of it, but it was in that thing I was talking about at the beginning. Imagining each one. So it's like asking a representative in your mind's eye to step forward, representing, for example, the so I'm just trying to find the word. Torres Island, is it? Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. You live there. Okay, but then all of the other representatives of all the other Aboriginal people, but equally also representative of, I don't know, you know, white people. I hate breaking people down like this because, as I say, to me, it's all just people. But I'm being asked that you need to do this because it's a bit like a beautiful piece of cake. There are different parts of the cake that do taste differently, or are different or look different, and that's all fine. So to come back to a unified whole, we first have to acknowledge the differences that we have with each other, and then we sit in circle. So on the 10th, it's just about acknowledging all the different types of people in your country. And this also includes people of different political persuasions. It's not just based on colour or ethnicity or anything like that. It's to do with political persuasions, religious persuasions. And all you have to do is it's like a simple exercise of the divine in me recognises the divine in you, the energy of Namaste, okay, coming through on 1010. Let me just pull a couple of cards for 1010, can't resist. Got a brand new deck here that arrived the other day. This is Tarot of the Witch's Garden. Let's see. Let me just have a couple of cards for Australia for 1010. What did I just say to you? We've got the Wheel of Fortune and the Two of Swords. We've also got the Three of Swords and the Ten of Wands. And the Ace of Cups. Okay, I don't know what happens on 1010. It might be nothing happens and it's like you're all waiting for something and the day passes and like, oh, well, nothing happened. But something will have happened. There's either an energetic shift. Well, there will be an energetic shift. It's the 1010 portal. So there's definitely an energetic shift on the 10th in your country. And it's just when people are feeling as though they can't carry on. It's like 10 of Wands energy. It's all too much. The Three of Swords, I can't stand it anymore. It's the end. Two of Swords, I'm blindfolded. I do not know what to do. I don't know how to vote. Separation being at the most pivotal point. I hope there's not fighting or, you know, aggression or violence potential maybe. But fate steps in and says, hold on a minute, hold on. Something is fated. There's an energetic fated shift on the 10th in your country. Come back to me at that time and tell me what it is. Because after that, we get the Ace of Cups. We get the love energy coming back in. I'll show you the card in a moment, but because it's a new deck and I don't know, I just need to look at it myself. On this Wheel of Fortune, the cards are quite small. I'd have liked them a bit bigger actually, but anyway, it is what it is. We have a lotus flower in the middle of the water wheel. This is a water wheel. A lotus flower. The heart chakra opens. Feels as though something happens to open up people's heart chakras around about on the 10th. I hope it doesn't come in on the back of anything unpleasant. You see, this is the thing. If as a nation you're going to get more and more, this is exactly the same as what I'd say to America. There's pockets of it also in my country, of course. The more divided we get, who we end up actually stabbing and killing is ourselves. There's a danger this could turn violent if it hasn't already. Don't let that happen, light workers. You can change this. Okay, so cancel, clear, delete that thought. It could also be something linked into Mother Earth. But whatever occurs on 1010, there's a fated feel to it. Let's go back to the card. We have the lotus flower in the middle of the wheel. We have animals. We've got the owl again. The owl. I can't see what that creature is. Sorry, I haven't got my glasses on. I don't know where the book is that goes with that. Oh, it's here. I feel as though I need to read you. I know we all know what the Wheel of Fortune means, destiny, but I feel as though I need to read you the message for the Wheel of Fortune from this deck for whatever reason. Oh, it's got a lovely book that goes with it. I'll show it to you in a moment. In fact, the pictures in the book are better than the pictures on the cards. Look at that. This is the same size as my book, so you get a beautiful... That's much better, isn't it? See that much better. Anyway, what does it say about the Wheel of Fortune? It says, breathing pulse and father time, universe expands while clocks chime. Whirlwinds of space you will enter, to stay the course, keep to centre. Let's read that again. It's linked into Jupiter. Breathing pulse and father time, universe expands while clocks chime. Whirlwinds of space you will enter, to stay the course, keep to centre. It says, a glen of fractured sunlight pulls you closer to the sound of whirling water. A buzzing in the belly pulls you towards a pulsating energy source. That's Uluru. You arrive to discover you are not the only one drawn to this magical spot. You stand before the Wheel of Fortune. She holds destiny. Uluru holds the destiny. She is the Wheel of Fortune. A pink lotus flower blossoms at the centre of the wheel. Lotus flowers root into deep, murky mud. They rise to the surface and open their petals in sunlight. It echoes the human nature of moving from darkness to light. A mandala is the mapping of space. 4 spokes mark the 4 directions, with alchemical symbols of earth, air, fire and water. 4 more spokes divide the space and are engraved with the letters tarot. It arranges to make the words rota, which is Latin for wheel. So it's talking about the 4 corners, the 4 elements. It says the 4 corners are marked by a child, fairy, a snoozing feline and a fawn. Okay, so some of you might want to make sacred grids, do medicine wheel medicine at that time. Not everybody, but some will be drawn to do that. And it's movement, it's a change in luck. I think it becomes clearer by 10:10. Okay. I'd like to give the Aboriginal people a voice now and use some cards. I'm just wondering which are the right cards to use. I think I'm going to go back to this original deck. I'm going to spray the earth elemental spray actually. Okay, Aboriginal energy. I understand, of course, it's pretty impossible to speak on behalf of everybody. There will be differences of opinion within the group and groups, but let's just see. Aboriginal voice. I'm feeling a very calm energy has just come in the room. A very calm, settled energy. I'm linking into elders within the Aboriginal people who are alive right now, who are going to steer their people through these times, to bring them to the table in a dignified way. I'm seeing these elders. This is an analogy that I'm using here, but it's as though there is like grandfathers and grandmothers, elders, and behind them are a rabble of people, Aboriginal people, and some of them are very agitated and very loudly spoken and very angry or very upset, very emotional basically. And this elder energy is just turning to the line behind and saying, hush, hush, okay? They're like it's a bit like the Pied Piper type energy, but this is a positive energy. It's like they're leading them somewhere positive. To trust the elders is what I'm hearing them say. To trust the elders. It feels as though the elders are at peace. Whatever happens, the elders are at peace. Because there is a wisdom here of knowing that they are on the conveyor belt, that we all are, that what is requested and needed by them and for their needs to be met will be met. Aboriginal people, 2 cards please. Can't get away from the children. Look, 2 cards with children. That the elders are leading their people on behalf of future generations. And they know that, excuse the phrase, but Rome was not built in a day. That it takes a while for anything that is worthwhile takes time. And an elder knows this. An elder knows that the wisdom that they have achieved, the position that they have achieved, the authority that they have achieved, the voice that they have achieved that others listen to, has been seeded and had to grow for many years. It wasn't the first time that they opened their mouth that they were listened to. But they kept walking. They kept moving. They kept their eye on the horizon and they never lost faith. And they do so on behalf of the children. So the Aboriginal people are some really beautiful leaders. The energy that I'm tapping into here, I would love to be sitting down with them myself. Very calm, very peaceful, very good, honest leaders of New Earth. Some of these elders, and this is also a timeline thing because some people who are not yet elders will become elders, okay? So some elders that are already elders and some who are yet to be but will be soon or in decades are going to be some of the new leaders of Australia. Doesn't have to be the Prime Minister, it means in prominent positions of power. And they bring in this slow turning of the wheel towards what is right. And there is no retribution in their heart. There is no vengeance in their heart. There is just the energy of peace and forgiveness and tolerance. And others in wider community are awed by that. Inspirational role models that are not just for their people, the Aboriginal people, that are for the whole of Australia. It's truly beautiful what I'm feeling, truly beautiful. And I'm reminded of the passage from the Bible about it's harder for a rich man to enter the kingdom of heaven, about passing through the eye of the needle, that to enter the kingdom of heaven, and this is to do with heaven on earth, it's to do with new earth. We have to have the innocence of being childlike. We have to have childlike innocence. And there are Aboriginal people that absolutely understand this. And this is a beautiful card. It says innocence. It says what does it say? My eyes. It says childlike playfulness, fresh eyes, and tree spirits. This card says fun, creativity, and mastery. That you get to mastery as a people, as a land, as a country, by through being returning to innocence. This is new earth energy. It's truly beautiful. It was always there before. How many years ago was it? 60,000 years ago? I can't remember the time. You know, the original settlers, it was always there. It's a return to that. It's a return to that. It's learning their ways and them learning our ways. It's beautiful. 1818, as I looked up, 18 minutes and 18 seconds. There's definitely something with time that's going to be playing out here. Time, I'm hearing the Louis Armstrong song, Louis, you have all the time in the world, because time is not linear. Time is, I just have this great feeling of reassurance that everything's going to, look at that on the bottom of the card. I was about to say that everything will work out, and it's the card of harmony. Blissful peace, partnership, and divine love. This is the Aboriginal people in partnership. True partnership. Harmony. And conversely, the other side, if you want to call it the other side, being just as at peace in the partnership. It's divine love. It's beautiful. Oh my God, it's so beautiful. And then the question is, I don't want to go back to these questions because it's like, they're all about, when I was having my coffee downstairs, I was thinking about the energy of over-analysis leads to paralysis. And that's where you are at the moment, Australia. It's right to question. It's right to bring things up because they all will be answered in time. They all have to be addressed. That I have this question, but I have that question, and I don't trust this and I don't trust that. It's right to bring them up. But it's leading to this state of complete paralysis where nothing is happening. I'm not going to tell you which way to vote, but I will say the one thing I'm strongly feeling is that it's important to vote. It's because a no vote, just not turning up, is the equivalent of paralysis. It's the equivalent of trying to get off the conveyor belt. The conveyor belt is moving, whether you like it or not. Whichever way this vote goes down, ultimately it leads to the destination that all parties at heart level want. I don't know the timescale of that, but it doesn't feel that far off. So I think I'd just like to say a few words on trust, and then I'm going to do an exercise at the end, which is a healing one, and I think we'll leave it there. Because I just don't feel guided. I think if you've made it this far through the video, can you feel how inappropriate it feels now to sort of like, well, what does Albanese, what you know, all of this, and no. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. I'm being guided to say what I've been guided to say. Okay, and if it's resonated, great. If it hasn't, leave it. Trust. Let's talk about trust. We've lost our trust. We've lost our trust in each other. We've lost our trust in Mother Earth. We've lost our trust in the politicians. Whenever we have to build the trust, we have to build the bridges back. I'm being shown in my mind's eye the Northern Ireland peace process. You may not know what that is. I can't remember all of the details of it. I just remember living in the 1990s, 2000s, being in London, working in London, the bomb scares that were daily, being afraid to walk past litter bins in case they blew up. There was a pub at the end of our road where I worked which had an IRA bomb in it. If you were in Belfast, you lived through much worse horrors than that. It was so entrenched that the way of chaos, hatred, aggression division, separation. Nobody ever could see a way out of it. Somehow through that whole awful time, the peace process came into being, and it's stuck. It has stuck. Yes, sometimes there's a danger that we're sliding back, but ultimately, if you compare what happened in 1970s, 80s, 90s and beyond in somewhere like Belfast to what's happening now, we're in a better place. I'm raising it because it's somewhere where you thought there would never ever be this beautiful emerald green energy of regeneration and coming together and growth and partnership. It can happen when enough people want it, when enough want it. But it can often be messy in the process. And it's to do with trust. You know, the peace process, both sides didn't trust each other. I'm not going to sit at a table with him. I'm not going to do that. We have to start somewhere. We have to put our differences down. Okay, right. Anything? I haven't drawn a card from the animal deck that did I? Can't remember what I did. No, I didn't. I've got the Animal Dreaming Oracle cards by Scott Alexander King, another Australian deck. Let's pull a card from the animals. So we've got the lizard, the owl, the wolf already. We've got the black swan with the bat. Black swan events can be unexpected events. I'm slightly nervous, although not afraid. This 1010 portal, I think we need to put a golden shield over it, actually, of protection. With regards to all of the leaders, I just feel it's very heightened. It's going to get even more heightened. You see, Uranus can bring unexpected explosive energy. And we don't want the rebirth to come in via anything like that. So why have I got the black swan? Over and above what it stands for in terms of grace, but I'm just feeling something else. Black swan events. Destabilizing events. Uranus isn't stable, you see. It's not a stable energy. And you're going to the referendum on a 4 numerological day. Yeah, just keep your eye on the prize, which is the horizon, the peaceful horizon. Also keep your eye on, and your attention and your focus, remember you're a manifester, on not just the 14th, not just 1010, but on the days that follow, the negotiations that follow. You've got to surround this whole energy in peace, just peace, because we've got rebirth, you know. Rebirth is going to be happening. But again, you know, the bat, it's hanging upside down in the dark. But it's a very positive omen, very positive omen. The black swan, the card of grace. Where's the book? What's it saying? It's talking about the tale of the ugly duckling, which becomes the beautiful swan. Grace. It's the energy of grace. Grace cannot be learned. It cannot be bought or it cannot be given. It can only be found within. It must be remembered. Children naturally walk with grace. Grace is innocence. Grace is impeccability, coupled with a deep knowing and an unwavering sense of belonging. The knowledge of what true beauty is without having to advertise it. You will be, Australia, I want to say, you will be led by grace. Practice grace. Adopt grace. So I'm just looking because I have a grace card within my Christ Consciousness deck, which I would like to show you as well. Many of you have got this deck, and thank you very much for your support, but in fact it's the back of all of the cards. It's the honeycomb and the bee. And of course, bees work together, don't they? They work together for the greater whole, to create something sweet and something harmonious. Let's pull one card from the Christ Consciousness deck. Guidance for the people of Australia. Oh my God. Look. Look. It's beautiful. However this goes, you've got the energy of rebirth. This is the card of resurrection. How many times have I talked about rebirth in this video? There's nothing to fear from this referendum, however it goes down. The Holy Spirit, work through me. Holy Spirit, work through this referendum. Holy Spirit, please work through our leaders. Holy Spirit, please work through me. Holy Spirit, please work through my enemy. Holy Spirit, please work through my nation. Holy Spirit, please work through my ancestors. Holy Spirit, work through my children yet to be born. Let the Holy Spirit, the energy of grace, guide you towards this energy, which is that of resurrection. In that light, I'm going to leave it here. And we will just say a prayer at the end for your country. Thank you to everybody that has watched. Please like and share if you've benefited from this, because if you have, others might. Let it bring peace to others, to yourself. Let us ask for the Holy Spirit to come into your land, to wash away the confusion, the smog, the pain of the past, the injustices of the past. Allow them to arise and be heard safely, for them to be received in the energy of love, reconciliation, forgiveness. Let us leave retribution at the door. Allow the spirit of the Aboriginal people to rise across your great land, for their voices to be heard, for their rights to be acknowledged, for all sides to see themselves as equal, for harmony to be restored, for a new constitution to rise that is better and serves all better than it did in the past, for Australia to help bring about the golden wave, for not just itself, but for the whole world, for Uluru to be listened to be respected, and we give thanks, huge thanks and gratitude for her steady presence, her teaching. Amen. Leaving it there. Thank you all very much. Take care. Good luck. You don't need it. You'll be guided. Bye-bye for now.